Okay, let's go and set Photoshop's unit of measurement. Now, there's three different ways to do this. I'm going to show you each of these here. So the first way that I can go and set Photoshop's unit of measurement, in other words, I want Photoshop to use centimeters, or I want Photoshop to use pixels or inches. And between you and I, depending on what I'm doing inside Photoshop, I'll often change my unit of measurement. For example, doing a project like this, building a CD or a DVD label, I would use millimeters. If I were building a web layout, I would use pixels. If I were designing the cover of the CD or the cover of the DVD, I would use inches. So for myself, I switch between units of measurement. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to head up to Photoshop's preferences. Now, if you're on a Windows machine, head to your Edit menu. Here on the Mac, though, I'm going to head to my Photoshop menu and then down to Preferences. Now, a quick side note, what you could do is you could just hit Command K or Control K if you want to speed things up here a little bit. And that'll bring you into your general preferences, but we're actually looking for our units and rulers preferences. So make sure if you do use your keyboard shortcut, Command K or Control K, to head down to units and rulers there on the left-hand side. Okay, now the unit of measurement is found right here, rulers. I'm on centimeters right now. So maybe what I'll do here is I'll switch to inches. I know that I said that I want to use millimeters for my CD or DVD label, but I'm going to show you a couple of cool things here. So I'm going to switch to inches, and my unit of measurement for text, the default is points. Now you can switch that to pixels or millimeters. I always leave the default when it's related to typography here. That's up to you though. So I'm just switching my ruler unit of measurement here to inches. That's really all that I'm after here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. And that's basically it. Now, what I can do is I can fire open Photoshop's rulers, and I'll be able to see that I actually am indeed inside the inches unit of measurement. So what you can do is you can head to your View menu and then look for rulers about halfway down. But myself, I always use the keyboard shortcut. This is a good one to remember. Command R here on the Mac or Control R on the Windows side, and you'll see that you get your horizontal and also your vertical rulers inside your document. And I'm looking at my rulers here and I can tell that I'm inside inches. So there's a half an inch, there's a full inch, an inch and a quarter, inch and a half, and so on, right? So that's great. So that's one way to set Photoshop's unit of measurement. So in other words, through Photoshop's preferences, right? But I mentioned that there were actually three different ways to set the unit of measurement here inside Photoshop. So I'm going to show you the other two ways right now. This next method is probably my favorite because it's so simple and so straightforward. Whenever I'm working inside a layout here inside Photoshop and I have my rulers turned on, which if I'm working on a layout, either a print layout or a web layout, I always have my rulers turned on, right? Try right-clicking on your rulers. Not a lot of people know that you can do this. You can actually right-click on your rulers, and I can actually switch my unit of measurement on the fly. So right now I'm inside inches. I'm going to flip now to millimeters, and I can see that my rulers have now changed over to millimeters. Or I could right-click and I could switch over to pixels if I wanted to. Or, of course, any of the units of measurement that are available from this right-click menu, right? So nice and fast and dirty and clean. That's why I like it, right? And again, it's really handy for me, a guy who switches between units of measurement. Now, what's kind of cool here is you might be looking at this and go, well, yeah, I right-clicked and I switched to pixels, but did that actually change Photoshop's unit of measurement, the unit of measurement that's being used throughout the entire application? Or is it just the unit of measurement that's being displayed on the ruler? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that is going back into Photoshop's preferences and finding out for ourselves. So this time I'm going to use my keyboard shortcut to get into Photoshop's preferences, Command K or Control K if you're on the Windows side, and head down to Units and Rulers there on the left. And sure enough, our unit of measurement has been changed to pixels throughout the entire application. So in other words, right-clicking on your rulers changes not just the unit of measurement that the rulers are using, but the unit of measurement that the entire application is using. Pretty cool. All right, great. I'm going to show you one more way to change Photoshop's unit of measurement here. I'm just going to cancel out of the preferences. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to flip over to my info palette. Look for your info palette in the right-hand side. If you don't see your info palette on the right, just head to your window menu and look for info. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to head to the info palette's menu found up in the top right corner and go ahead and choose panel options. All right, we wind up inside this dialog box. Now, inside the info panel options dialog box, we have mouse coordinates and we have ruler units. Right now I'm set to pixels. What I'll do is I'll go and change my unit of measurement now to millimeters. Go ahead and do the same thing. Make sure you're on millimeters. Now what's interesting is before I even click OK inside this dialog box, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but my rulers changed in the background there. So I'll just show you this quickly here. I'll switch to centimeters and my rulers change. I switch to inches and my rulers change without me actually even hitting OK, which is kind of bizarre. Anyway, make sure you're on millimeters. Go ahead and click on OK. And of course the rulers change. We know that already. And also, if I just fly back into Photoshop's preferences here quickly, again, Command K or Control K, and I go and look at my units and rulers, Photoshop has been changed here again to millimeters. So in other words, the point that I'm trying to drive home here with you is whether you right click on your rulers or whether you set your ruler unit of measurement inside the info panel, you're going to be changing the unit of measurement throughout the entire Photoshop application, which is fabulous. All right, go ahead and click on OK or cancel. We are now ready to begin building our CD or DVD label.